And it says that leadership is influence, anything more, nothing less. Then I
I
also
agree.
search in Google and says influence is your ability to affect other people's thoughts, feeling, decisions, or actions. But interesting enough says without necessarily use of formal authority. And I feel that the label gives that authority.
Definitely. Definitely. And the title manager gives you gives the authority, and then it's a bit of again proving to everyone that you are still the same person as you were before, if it makes that sense. Of course, you need to have and you need to make hard decisions. Those are the decisions that's why you applied for that role. But we need to be clear between leadership and management. This is something that is becoming management is something that is within the org structure of the organization. But leadership, you don't need to have exactly the title of this episode. Is you don't, or your series of episodes is you don't need to lead with the title. You can lead without the title, and that's the difference. Like the managers are the ones that are telling you what to do.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Customer Success Talks, Real Challenges, Experts Advice, the podcast dedicated to helping those transitioning into customer success and early career customer success managers. Today's episode is part of that series of episodes that we have been recording with amazing guests, where in each episode we touch on different topics within the same big title, which is becoming a CS leader for the first time. And that means that there are different steps. That means that is how to find a job, how to lead without burnout, and more. And what I notice is that our guests is literally they're just sharing their stories, their journeys, their mistakes, their fuck ups, and what not to do. And today is not going to be the exception. Today we will be focusing on how to lead without a title, how to influence, how to have the authority within the team without having to have a label under your name. I believe that that could be even the first step as well, or one of the first for that natural momentum building of growing to becoming a leader if you see yourself as a leader. Today, we have with us Bojan Dimevski, Senior Manager of Customer Success at Cornerstone, with 10 years of experience in CS, where he leads an international teams across the DACH region, focusing on a strategic portfolio of customers, driving customer adoption and retention. Now, Cornerstone, I have done my research, is a huge company where they also have different break down different DCS and different structures like strategic portfolio and SMB. Now, our guest is going to tell us more about this, but it's also one of those big companies that have grown CS a lot. Bojan, welcome to Customer Success Talks, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
And super happy to know that there's another person living in the same city that I am.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I've been living in Bonn here for the last 12, 13 years now.
Poof. Were you in any other area of Germany before, or you
No,
came directly?
Bonn directly.
Mm.
I was living before that in Budapest for a year and some months. And yeah, back from originally where I'm from, Macedonia.
Was it boring for you at the first years, Bonn? It's a bit small.
You comparing of coming from Budapest, which is one of the capital cities in Eastern Europe of lifestyle, parties, student life, and so on. Yes, it was a bit of a depressing period, let's say, at the beginning.
Well, I came from a population of 5 million people in Costa Rica,
Yeah,
so for me it was okay. It was still a duck.
yeah.
Um, I do want to hear about your journey and why you took the decision to take the leadership role. But first, Bojan, how is the CS structure looking like in a company like Cornerstone? Because your focus in your team focus is strategic customers. Like, can you give us a bit of an insight of how it's looking like on a enterprise company like Cornerstone?
Yeah, sure, sure. So we operated within the region of EMEA, so Europe and Middle East mainly. We have the team is split into two basically um, departments. One is called strategic customer success, and the other one is called excellence customer success, where we take care of the SMBs, basically the small and medium sized businesses that are not in that much of a need of the dedicated customer success um, attention. So on the strategic ones, we have a dedicated for every account in the strategic customer success team has a dedicated customer success manager. In the SMBs, we actually have a joint customer success managers, so a pool of customer success managers that whenever it's necessary and needed, the team is jumping in to support that particular customer.
It's interesting how it's done. So basically, you break it down into having dedicated CSM versus having more a scalable approach,
Yeah.
like a bigger
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
Where we in Oki, where I work right now, the way it is done is based also on different customers. So what I do, I have 3 customers. I team up with an account manager who leads the expansion, and then I also focus a bit on the adoption, retention, and the scalable side of things. So it's interesting how in different companies CS is done completely
Yeah, definitely.
different.
Yeah, I've seen that over the course of the years as well, talking with other CS people, CS leaders from different organizations. I think there is no one framework of how CS works in every organization. It basically comes with whether it's what the requirement of the company is for the from the customer success. In some areas, I've seen that the customer success is becoming like a Swiss Army knife. So basically, everything that no one else can do it and cannot be done is dumped on the CS. And in some organizations, it's a very structured and very valuable organization and role that the people have. Because they see the value that the customer success is bringing to its customers and to the organization that they are working for at the end of the day.
100%, 100%. Bojan, I really want to hear your like why would you decided to become a leader? It's just a lot in it. I'm it must be super fun, of course. I don't see yet myself as a leader in CS. I was for a while in Costa Rica, but I know, and for those 3 years of time that I was a leader, I was able to experiment how much emotional intelligence it comes, decision making, being confident, and so many other things. So why taking the decision of becoming a leader?
Very interesting question. It's not that it was the first time that I wanted to become leader when I joined the customer success. I've had that in the past, having these different types of leadership roles, even back in the student days, in the uni days, where I was working for or volunteering for one of the biggest student organization at that time. I'm not sure whether they are still in that way or not. So which was called ISEC. And working for that organization, within that organization as well, grew within the leadership roles and titles that they have here. And I was looking that particular experience there as a way of where you can make mistakes, learn, but it will not have effect on your job, on your security, or it has a huge cost impact to put to the organization.
It's the best way
So
of
then you can,
preparation then.
yeah, it basically prepares you for the real world afterwards. And yeah, so back to my experience, I then through the ISEC organization, I went for an internship in Budapest, where I worked for an organization that as a recruiter within the HR world. And from there, I moved to Bonn, again in DHL. I was working for Deutsche Post as a L&D and recruitment specialist, working closely on the Cornerstone solution at that time, because that's what we the organization has made a contract with, and we started the implementation. And I really liked the system. I was working a lot within the system. I had already touch points with Cornerstone or the customer success team or the support teams from Cornerstone. And we had a couple of meetings as well. And it was really interesting to see the atmosphere and the energy that the people were bringing in. And yeah, there was a role being opened, and I actually saw it and I said, okay, I like working in HR because that's kind of my upbringing. I was constantly working in HR as a recruiter. Even in that organization, the student organization, I was working in talent management in HR. So I like those parts and processes and things like that. But I
You
liked
were born
systems
for
and working
that.
with systems, right? And yeah, it was a perfect combination, because you have the Cornerstone solution, but at the same time, you work with customers that are doing their HR processes through the Cornerstone solution. And yeah, I applied. I went to the final round of selection process. I went to Paris. I think it was in the offices there. And yeah, after a while, I got the job, and I started back in August 2016 as a customer success. And I think customer success in general at that time, because I was researching about the role, it was not that frequent, and it was not that many organizations had customer success. I think it came on later on. So I would say that Cornerstone was maybe not one of the pioneers, but pioneering the customer success role and designing the customer success role in a way of what actually needs to be done for the customers. And I really like that journey. So I've spent as a customer success manager and a senior customer success manager for 3-4 years, and then 2019 I my manager left and I applied for their role and I got it basically.
It sounds like you were born for for CS and also Cornerstone. Like since the beginning, you are being prepared indirectly for leadership, and then it came HR to your life, and then you are using Cornerstone and
You can
continue.
say it in that way. Now it's more of tools and systems and so on. HR is still there. It's still close to my heart, but there are many other stuff that are being done even through the Cornerstone solution. I'm still more now. It's closer more the customer success way than the solution itself. Because at the end of the day, once you start growing within the role and once you start realizing, and again, we're talking about customer success as a general, I think it doesn't necessarily you need to have that expertise of the solution, because that's a teachable thing. That's a thing that you can learn. You need to have that experience of how you work with customers, how you establish yourself, how you drive value, how you showcase the value to the customer, return on investment to the customer, and why they've made the right decision of purchasing the solution that they have.
All
Doesn't
of that
necessarily need to be
comes,
Cornerstone or anything else.
yeah, and all of that comes with the questions, right? The curiosity, the understanding, and I know that Cornerstone indeed was one of the first or one of the pioneers, because until nowadays their leaders continually believe in CS and continually work on CS. Um, I applied for almost 1 years and a half in Cornerstone, and that's where we met. And also I met some people on the team, and I noticed how being strategic in CS is such an important factor. And that's where I learned, okay, I still need to continue development in that area. When it comes to the leadership part, Bojan, if you will go back on time, will you say yes again?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Why is it so addictive?
You are still, how I'm looking at it, you can influence more and many if you have a bit more leadership or a bit higher leadership role, because that's when you can actually set up processes and set up things that what affected you as a CSM in the beginning as an individual contributor to make their life better. And this is how I see it as a cycle. Is okay, these are the things that I didn't work for me when I was a CSM, and if I become a leader, I would try to improve them. I will keep whatever was working. I will try to improve them, and then whoever comes next will say, "Well, these are the things that are," and that's how it grows, right? These are the things that didn't work for me, but when I become a leader, I will try to improve them, but I'm keeping everything else that has been set up. So you're building constantly a nice foundation to actually create a very successful customer success organization. And I'm
Interesting.
again coming back to working with people, like having experiences through the customers with these people and how they grow as a customer success, because some of them are experienced customer success managers that they come through the team, but some of them are new that wants to try. So how you coach and how you work with them and how you showcase to them your experience and share your experience, it's really interesting.
I think it's super interesting, but on the other side, there must be. Is it like, I don't think it's for everyone. Like myself, now that I'm in CS, I'm just also new in CS. That I still need to and feel that I need to learn and satisfy my curiosity. But I don't know if leadership is for everyone.
Yeah, and you have people that have explicitly said that, and you have people that think that they can but actually are not. So you need to work on different types of threads and work with different types of people. Those that are actually feeling that they are not, or they're not, or open to themselves, that they actually are liking the individual contribution, go for it. Just build yourself up as an SME, the go-to person for whatever problem there is, and you still will have a nice job and experience. Doesn't necessarily need to be a leadership role.
And that's exactly, and you just touched on a great point. Like, it doesn't necessarily has to be a leadership role. Do you believe that people can have a leadership role
Without the title.
without the
Definitely.
title? Like, where's the influences they're coming from?
Definitely. Yeah. So first of all, you need to create yourself or create a personal brand. That's one
Mm.
important thing of how you position yourself in front of customers, in front of your peers, in front of other departments within the organization, because this is the crucial moment of how they perceive you at the end of the day. So one thing is you have customers and you have problems, and then you escalate and push to everyone and create bad atmosphere, rather than how we can help this together. And that's when the people will start seeing you as, okay, I can go to this person if I need help, because they can as well be open of helping me. The other way is as well is, I remember, so I can share with from my experience also, is that there are things that you've seen that people are just reinventing the wheel constantly, and there is no standardization of some stuff, like even for internally for reporting on customers. When we talked about QBRs, internal business reviews, on how we discuss about customers and what are the key things that we need to capture in order whoever sees that presentation understand what the problem is, where the issue is, where the ask is for help, and so on. I created a small deck cards, like every slide was a card per customer, where you had the crucial information. I mean, this is when the tools were not that much advanced and not that much existing. Now everything can be in Gainside, everything can be in other tools, right? But yeah, I had the slide deck with the customer, with the problems, the business that they're in, the problems that they have, the opportunities that we have, the next steps, and the ask. And I created that one, and then my manager at that time picked that one up and then started saying, and do all your presentations in this way. And that's how you kind of start getting the influence that you're doing on others without even having any role or title.
Wow. That's just blowing my mind right now. Let me just digest this, because you touch on personal branding, and the example that you gave is a clear way of creating or finding a need, a problem, and how you can find a solution, right? So there will be two episodes that comment about personal branding, but the way that they were structured is more about personal branding of having a podcast or being a community leader or so on. But it sounds like you're breaking down personal brand, not even on a big scale. It's more internally within the organization. So I think this also relates a lot, Boyan, towards like when CSMs, how do we bring the voice of the customer internally to influence the move?
Definitely. Yeah, that's the other part, is that then you need to speak the lingo as well, right? If you speak with, I don't know, you have an escalation on a particular issue or a case, bug, or whatever it is, you talk mainly with engineers and technical people. So you need to speak that lingo for when it's come to urgency and volume and the impact that the customer has. If you're talking about an enhancement, then you're talking with product people, and then you need to have impact and patterns, right? So you need to recognize that many customers might need this actual enhancement, and then you have a business case to say, okay, if you develop this, it's not only this customer particularly that will see the benefit, but these X more customers will see the benefit. This is the total ARR that they are bringing on the table, and the new potential sales that comes in. So that's how you influence the enhancement as well with the product people. So you need to talk the lingo of the different departments in order to influence your customer voice within the organization.
That can be scary.
It can be. And then you have this other side of the coin, is that not everything is that the customer wants and needs to be internally presented. Then you need to discuss and challenge the customer and saying why, and understanding the reason behind and why they need it, and maybe offer a different alternative. So not everything to go to product or to support or to whatever, but actually you are the key point of how you filter what comes from the customer to the organization, and vice versa.
And I think that's also about winning like showing that authority within the customer of I respect with respect I challenge you because I know this is what will bring, like opening this and challenging you, I know it's going to bring what you're looking for. So when it comes to confidence in conversation, not only with customers but internally, to have this confidence of having in bringing this conversation to your manager or looking for internal allies, having this communication across teams, is there any habit, is there any framework, is there any tool that you will recommend someone who wants to start building that personal branding?
Yeah. So I would say, like, again, the back with the decks, right? With the so pick one thing that you're good at and share it with the team, and make first start with the team, and then it can go further, right? So here is how I did the renewal, or here is how I did the QBR, and this is the most successful QBR I did with my customer. Like, so you try to influence on your team, or like trying to find problems that are impacting more than one, and summarize them
Um,
in a really nice way, and then involve the right people and the parties inside of the organization, and present the problem and suggest the solution. So not only the problem, but suggest the solution of where we can get these quick wins. And of course, like, you need to communicate like a leader, right? Structured, calm, without emotions, customer centric, trying to get the essence of what you want to influence without any, you know, the emotions. At the end of the day, it's more on the influence that you would like to get based on the impacts that is creating for the customer, right?
I feel that that comes a lot with practice. I mean, you make it sound really simple too.
It does, it does. Yeah, and then again, I'm not. I when I started, I think I was telling you about that when we were having the CS Connect here.
Yeah.
Um, for me, the and that's how I designed. Like, again, coming back to the problem that I'm trying to, when I became a manager, part of the selection process, I have this team interview, panel interview. Remember, you were part of it as well, where we talk about the art of saying no to a customer.
Yeah.
This is a very crucial and very key skill that not many customer success people, especially newer ones, have. And that's what it creates problems on the long run. So you start, it's good, but you start saying yes to everything to the customer, and you're becoming this yes person to them, that whenever then at some point after a year you skipped an email, you didn't answer in the first day or first 2 days, or suddenly something didn't work out as it should, you are getting burnt, and you're building that relationship based on you becoming a servant to the customer in a way. And then as soon as something is not working, that relationship is cut off. So it's very fragile relationship that you have with the customer. And after a year and a half, when you start building your portfolio, when you start actually working as a customer success manager, this is where you cannot, you get fed up, and burnouts are coming in. People are leaving earlier because they cannot continue working as a customer success anymore, because they feel like they're, they're constantly grasping for air within the a lake of problems. And the ability of saying no, but not no just because of, for the sake of saying no, but the ability of saying no because you know that this is not going to happen, or you know that it's not the right way, and you explain an argument why you're saying the no. This is how you build a trustful relationship with the customer. And this is how the customer will respect you even further, because you can stand up and say, actually, this is not working. I'm here to help you, but this is not working. Because if I'm here to help you and I'm constantly saying yes, I will burn with problems in the future.
Yeah. I think people like to be challenged, especially if yeah, I know I saw you moving like yes and no. It depends how, right? But I think that it also brings like that moment of okay, this is the person who knows about the product, who has worked with other customers similar than me, who knows other customers with similar goals. And I'm also the one who knows my company, my employees, what I need, right? So it's like if I told you no, it's because I have seen the consequences of that. And
Exactly.
interesting enough, I Customer experience is important, but the outcomes are the most important part
At the end of the day, yes.
at the end, right?
It's the value. It's the value realization. That's the buzzword at the moment, is
That's the
value
buzzword.
realization. How you showcase the value that the customer has from the solution that they're using. Not through utilization of the solution, but how that utilization impacts their business overall.
Yeah, I think that as someone who wants to become a leader at some point in life, I think it's also a good path to start working with someone like a mentor outside of the company, not only with the leader internally. What do you think about this? Do you believe that leaders need to be a mentor versus a coach? Yeah.
Um, I, I would say coach is, if you have experienced CSMs, then, or within your team as a manager, then you should be a coach more, rather, because then you actually build those small things that they're missing, because they're experienced CSMs, and you're building small things that you're missing. But if you have a younger, or let's say a newer CS person that just started their career in CS and they are not aware, then I think you need to be a bit of a more of a mentor, where you influence their thinking even harder, let's say, than the coach. Coach is asking a question where they come to a realization. At least that's how I understand it, right? But mentor is more, I give you advice on the things, if you need advice, of course. So that's, I think, the difference. But in general, yes, people should have mentors and coaches, whatever they prefer that they should have. Doesn't necessarily need to be external, internal, as long as if you have internal one, you agree that company is not the. It depends on the path that you want, right? You can have
Yeah.
I want a coach because of Cornerstone, let's put it in that way, and within Cornerstone to be more helpful. But you can have a coach that is from Cornerstone, but you're talking in general about different things, right? It's not only the company.
Yeah, my take on this one as an individual collaborator who has almost 1 year and a half now actually doing not learning. Learning has been almost twice, but doing is that if one has the option to have someone external, I think it's gonna be really, really
Yeah,
valuable.
it's more objective,
This
of
is a
course.
safe space too.
Definitely, definitely, it's more objective. It's a safe space. I agree.
When it comes to influence, right? So I looked for what influence means, and I one of the leaders that I learned for a while ago, when I was really, really into leadership before CS came to my life and changed my life. Oh my God, I'm sounding like is John C. Maxwell, right? And it
Mm,
says that leadership is influence, anything more, nothing less. Then I
I
also
agree.
search in Google and says influence is your ability to affect other people's thoughts, feeling, decisions, or actions. But interesting enough says without necessarily use of formal authority. And I feel that the label gives that authority.
Definitely, definitely. And the title manager gives you the gives the authority, and then it's a bit of again proving to everyone that you are still the same person as you were before, if it makes that sense. Of course, you need to have, and you need to make hard decisions. Those are the decisions that's why you applied for that role. But we need to be clear between leadership and management. Management is something that is within the org structure of the organization. But leadership, you don't need to have exactly the title of this episode is, you don't, or your series of episodes is, you don't need to lead with the title. You can lead without the title. And that's the difference. Like, the managers are the ones that are, telling you what to do. The leaders are the ones that are showing you how it's done, and then you follow them, right? Or the
Yeah.
other way around. Yeah, you follow the leaders. And this is where the difference is a lot when we talk about leadership influence and management influence. Because management influence or manager influence is, yeah, I tell you, Byron, do this and that, and that's it. Leadership is a completely different story. I do this, and then if you want, if you're agreeing with me, then you follow me, and let's do this together, and let's find the perfect role for you within this part that you will support the common goal that we want to achieve. And that's a very big difference.
How in 10 years of CS leadership, CS, and also maybe 7 in leadership, right? 3 and
Since 2019, yeah. So 6.
um how have you learned these differences? What mistakes have you done that made you think, okay, I can see what are the difference between manage someone and lead someone? Like, is there a clear path? Because I can imagine in so many years you have must seen so many things
Well,
hitting the fan.
I've seen other people doing it, and those are the things that I'm saying. Okay, I can follow this person because I know what they're doing, and versus, well, actually, I don't think I can follow them. I agree on some points with them, but I don't feel inspired that what we're doing is the right way. So that's how I've like distinguished, and I've learned. What I'm practicing, it can be interpreted in different ways. What I'm saying, practicing as a manager, but again, it's really, again, depends on the individual. As a team, I'm trying to be more of a leader where they follow me, and that the team is at the right place at the right time for the things that they need. And when they want me to step away, I step away. When they want me to jump in, I jump in. So it's quite of a fluid, let's say, relationship. There were situations where I needed to be a manager, where I was not agreeing with the things that were happening, and I needed to discuss it in a different level, not as a leader, but as a manager employee relationship,
Yeah.
based on performance, based on activities, actions, and so on.
Managing so many personalities and managing our own personality as well.
True. That's actually really true. You wear different hats, because you can be an ear to hear out for people to vent, and you can be a person that just needs their advice or just need validation that what they're doing. So you need to wear different hats all the time.
There's another episode that is coming in this series of episodes of becoming a CS leader for the first time, which is also talking to stakeholders, like your managers, your leaders, right? That's another topic, and that's also I think super interesting about this part of leadership and everything that involves. I don't think it's that straightforward based on the conversations I've had with leaders for this series. But if we focus again on influence, are there any symptoms that says that one is doing the correct thing when it comes to influencing others?
In which way? Can you elaborate a bit?
Yeah. So, for example, like I'm working on influencing my customers. I'm working on being someone I'm working on my personal branding internally. I'm trying to be seen as a future leader as well. I know I want to be a leader, but I know that one of these skills is influence. So, are there any symptoms? Are there any red, green flags that says, yeah, you're doing it right?
I mean,
It,
there
the,
are formal ways of understanding and finding out that. There are informal ways of finding out that. Formal ways are, you can run 360 feedback within your organization and trying to understand what your peers, what your manager, what your subordinates, if you have subordinates, of course, think about you, right? So it can be an open-ended questions. It can be a specific rating star, and then you have your do's and don'ts, and you have your development further areas, and you have your strengths that you can identify through there. The other part is exactly what we were talking in the beginning, right? So when you see a problem and you identify a problem and you solve it and you present it as a solution, and then you see it being adopted across the teams or across your team in general, or anywhere else, you understand that you don't need a validation, but that's an influence. Actually, that's how you contributed towards something to become better in your organization. So you influence that particular area with your expertise, with your knowledge, with your dedication, with whatever it is that you did, right? So that's the informal way, if you want to look at it.
I recently had a conversation with my manager and start wanted to bring the conversation of what are the options for me to grow within the company and where can I also start my North Star and goals. And I noticed after the conversation that I still need to be expert on what I do. And I still need to be expert on managing my portfolio of customers, on identifying those problems that no one have seen, and I fix them before they appear. And that's part of the influence of what you're saying. Now that what you just said, it connects really good in my mind about influencing also is the impact that you're bringing. Would you do you believe that?
Yeah, I mean, coming back to the same example, right? So you made an impact with that particular activity, whether it's internal, whether it's external. I didn't like. Sorry for coming back. I didn't like that you said expectation is to become an expert and fix the problems for the customers. CS is not fixing the problems for the customers.
No,
Just
no.
small digression of everything else.
Yeah, fixing the problems in general before they are actually problems, not for the customers, but in
That's
general.
not a we are not there to identify problems and fix them. That's a support team, that's engineering team, that if we're talking about a technology solution, right, SaaS solution or what, it's engineering team, it's product team, it's anyone. Customer success is how we build success for that customer. So it's a completely different types of conversations that we should have with. So that's why I'm trying to say that we are not fixing things. That's the problem, that we are perceived, because we are experts on the solution. We are perceived as problem fixers, and we troubleshoot and we find the solution, work around or whatever it is. But customer success is a bit more than that. It's actually showcasing the value that the customer has, and this is where the struggle is at the moment. I think with many organizations, in general, is that yes, you have the tool, whatever it is, right, that you bought as a customer, you're adopting it and using it heavily, but how that has been different to when you didn't have. Did you have increase in sales? Did you have increase in whatever business you're in, right? In production, in even like if we talk about learning when it comes to my solution, whether you had incidents in your workplace on the whatever floor shop level, if because your customers did the right trainings that they did, that's how you showcase the value, that your tool has increased those or decreased those if it's costs, for example. And this is how you present it. And that's how the people that have bought the solution are then showcasing it internally, saying, well, look, with this tool, actually, it was the right investment for us because we increased this and this and this and that, or decreased this and this and that. That's the customer success, at least strategic one, and how it should look like. And of course, it's never the same. This is the ideal world if we're talking about it.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. I will add to that my personal. What I will add there is that it's also about what can be done in the future. Like you're doing this, this is the value. What else? What more can we do with the product? If you buy this product, you're doing this. This is what it was done. Like you said, that what it looked like before and now where we can find more ways to give you more than that, like even double. But for example, in the use case that you mentioned in your own example, that was a problem that you solved.
Yeah, but that's an internal one, right? We're talking about internal, but the problem at my workplace, if you want to look at it
Yeah,
in that
but
way.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
mentioning.
okay, okay.
That's the
I
not
get it. I
customers.
get it.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, no, I mean the problems with technical issues, that's a different deal.
Hmm.
But the problems of having operational ideas, think outside of the box, I think that those are potential problems that have not come and that one can solve by thinking and you in a use case. I'm also working on a checklist and see if how that works, asking a customer to use it to bring feedback so I can have a use case internally. I think that those were the problems I was referring to. I think that's a way of influencing as well.
Yeah, definitely.
What are the red flags though? No, I'm sorry. What is something that we should not do?
Hmm. Again, coming back to the for like yes man, become a yes person. That's never a good thing. That's a red flag for me, to be honest. At the moment, if I'm hiring someone, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah, that has a name. I forgot. Customer pleaser, but it could be
Yeah,
like a customer pleaser.
customer pleaser, even internally, right? Like challenge me, ask me the challenging question. Let's discuss it. Like don't if I have an idea and you say yes to my idea, that doesn't mean that it's the right idea. Let's discuss it and grow it if it's, or put it in the bin if it's not working or you think it's not working. So yeah, that's a red flag, to be honest. I
Love
I
that.
I don't want to like working in customer success and being in conformity. It's not the right role.
Well, I think there's not a better way to close today's episode with that last phrase. Um, I think it was a really interesting one where you also showcase how you did it in the past and also how we can we don't have to be leaders or have an authority internally or a label to also be seen as a leader by influencing and problem solving. So Bojan, thank you so much again for your time. And hopefully we can see us at some point to have some lunch.
Yeah, definitely. We can now start with the Christmas market, so we can go for
Oh,
a
some
blue wine there. Yeah.
well, they're dangerous. thank thank you, Bojan, so much for your time. And like I always say to everyone, remember, keep learning, keep growing, and let's keep improving the world of customer success. Until next time.
Thank you.